Good evening and welcome to the first Friday show of the semester for FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Shane Pendleton.
And I'm meteorologist Jonathan Bellis, and we saw the first of a long string of sunny days and warmer conditions.
Yes, this was after a long string of cloudy days, cooler conditions, and a non-stop deluge of light rain yesterday. Talk about a 180-degree turnaround.
Yeah, we've gone from Seattle to back to Florida, and we're going to stay that way over the next 7 days.
Yes, as we'll see later in the show, the Sunshine State is finally living up to its name, but not all of the U.S. is facing that kind of weather right now.
Yeah, there are two storms in the corners of the country right now, one in the northeast and one in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes, and the northeast storm is due to a low that's setting off the Atlantic coast, and it's going to be bringing a lot of messy precip to all of the major cities of the Northeast.
Yeah, and it's been blustery up there, on top of that rain and snowfall as well.
Yeah, several advisories we'll have to watch out for later in the show that have been issued dealing with this. And this precipitation, mainly rain along the coast, but maybe some wintry mix further inland that'll cause more travel headaches.
Yeah, if you're traveling to the northeast, northwest, you'll have the travel headaches. Anywhere else, it's going to be almost like a jump into spring because we're about 10 to 15 degrees above average across most of the country.
Yeah, no complaints about the weather here in Florida, but for the big game on Sunday, the weather might not be quite so spectacular.
Yeah.
But we're going to bring it back home to Florida right now. Take a look around the whole country. We've got a quick overview of the show here for you, and we're sitting pretty in the Sunshine State at 56 degrees in the capital, 61 degrees at the coast, 59 degrees over there in Wilma. So these are gorgeous conditions all around, and the whole southeast really is soaking in the sunshine right now. We've got not a cloud in the sky over the Big Bend region. High pressure is dominating, as we'll see throughout the show tonight. That's keeping it clear here in the capital. So a few headlines for tonight's program. We've got sunshine ahead for several days, seasonable temperatures even a little above average, in fact, and the rain will be returning eventually in about 7 days from now. So enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the long weekend. Now, the first number that we're going to bring you tonight is tonight's forecast for the Big Bend region. That's 34 degrees in the capital. It's going to be mostly clear with light winds and similar conditions. You can see mid-30s across the whole Big Bend right now for tonight, and we're going to be seeing similar conditions throughout and warming up as we get to the next few days.
Yeah, and we're going to be the warm spot, which we typically are this time of year, but most of the country is going to see 10 to 15 degree temperatures above what they would normally be seeing this time of year.
Yeah, we understand that there's a lot of heavy rain and snow in the Pacific Northwest as an Aleutian low moves in.
Yeah, there's a low pressure system moving in from the Gulf of Alaska that'll be moving into places like Seattle, Idaho Falls, Bismarck, those sort of places over the next couple of days. It's going to be a little bit of a rainy weekend for those parts of the world.
Yeah, tomorrow evening into Sunday morning, we could be seeing a great deal of snow in northern Idaho and northwestern Montana, the northern Rocky states.
Yeah, the Continental Divide, anywhere above about 5,000 feet or so, is going to see 3 to 6 inches of snow.
Yeah, that's quite a lot. I mean, not maybe feet of snow, but just what they need, more snowfall on top of what they've already got.
Yeah, we've gotten all the precip out of this part of the world, so we're going to talk about a lot of sunshine with Tom now.
All right, beautiful day today. Let's take a look at the temperatures first. This morning we started out at about 41 degrees in the Tallahassee area, 37, a little cooler to the northwest, and some higher 40s as we get closer to the Gulf of Mexico there for today. Because of that Gulf of Mexico, it keeps you a little warm at night in the winter months. But let's take a look at the satellite imagery from today. Not much clouds at all. We see a little bit of high clouds down over the Gulf of Mexico, but beautiful day for you today. I looked up when I was walking around. I could not believe how beautiful it was, beautiful temperatures, and not much to complain about. Bigger picture here, see those high clouds in the Gulf of Mexico. We have some more high clouds over Louisiana and Texas and Arkansas there. That might be pushing its way through the rest of the weekend here. We might see a peak of those clouds, but for the most part, we're going to see sunny skies, beautiful weather. It's going to be cool mornings and a little bit warmer days. But right now we're sitting at 56 right around sunset, and it's going to be a cooling night. We're going to dip down. We're going to give you some low temperatures in a minute. Winds coming out of the north and maybe shifting towards the northeast by the morning time because of the high pressure moving. Dew point 35 degrees in Tallahassee is a heck of a lot different than we see in the summer months. We see those 80s, 90s, so We know it's really nice and dry outside, beautiful. Don't have to worry about your hair, ladies. I know myself, I got to keep it under control. Dew point's a little bit moisture down by the Gulf of Mexico. Big bodies of water give you some moisture. Looking at upper levels here, this is water vapor imagery from satellites, and this takes a picture of how much water vapor we see in upper levels. We see we're in moderate region right over Tallahassee, and following right behind that rain that we came, there was some really dry upper levels, but we're seeing the moisture build right back after that quick burst of really dry air, but we're still staying pretty dry for the next few days here. We're going to take a look. This high pressure is moving east across the Mason-Dixon line there, if you will. And as we see that move off the coast there, we're going to see these skies get clearer and clearer. See those cool temperatures kind of hang around a little bit, and those winds shift more out of the northeast rather than the north. And it's going to be beautiful for you with maybe a chance of so dry cold front here coming at Sunday, 8 a.m. That might bring a few showers, not much, just some clouds mainly. And we're going to see the temperatures dip a little bit behind that as well for your winds here. I'm talking about how, so right now we're looking at Friday, 8 p.m. That's about 2 hours from now. We're seeing those winds just kind of hover out of the north, and those are going to be shifting to the east and eventually out of the south by Saturday. But we're going to shift it off to John here while we take a look.
Yeah, we're going to take a look right around the southeast right now. The main story again is going to be these temperatures, about 10 degrees above what they were this time yesterday, 11 degrees warmer today in Atlanta than it was this time yesterday. And this trend is going to continue for pretty much the entire 2/3 of the United States south of the Canadian border. 56 degrees here in Tallahassee right now with a couple of those clouds still lingering around, but those are going to be heading down towards the south as well. And the sun is going to be staying with us for most of the weekend. A couple of clouds will be filtering through. But as we head into next week, this is what we are going to expect. We're going to tack on about 10 degrees under these temperatures as we head into next week. And here's those clouds finally starting to pass down towards the south. But wait, because there's a couple of more clouds that'll arrive as we head into Saturday evening into Sunday. Now, these aren't going to cause any shower activities, except for maybe right along the coast down towards Apalachicola. But again, really not a bad weekend. It'll be warming up and clearing out for the most part, and that's because of this dry air here in the black and dark gray colors here. But again, we have to deal with this batch of cloudiness that's going to come in from Louisiana and Mississippi over the next couple of days, really overnight on Saturday into Sunday is going to be the biggest trouble spot here. But high pressure is in control with just a few clouds passing through the area. And then we have this high pressure system move off towards the east that'll swing our winds out of the east and really bring in the sunshine. Maybe a few clouds to Taylor and Madison County here, but really the big story is going to be the temperatures are going to be well above normal, and sunshine is going to be well above normal, or at least normal as of late. This dry cool front will be coming in on Sunday, but really the only impact is going to be maybe an extra boost in the winds out of the east. And then heading into next week, we're going to be talking about warmer conditions and drier conditions as well. 34 degrees, so we're going to be close to a freeze here tonight in Tallahassee. But I don't think anyone in our viewing area will be seeing any freezing temperatures, so don't worry about that. You have to go up into Alabama and Mississippi to see those freezing temperatures tonight. 31 degrees in Montgomery, 29 in Tupelo, 65 degrees in Tallahassee tomorrow, 60s out in Texas as well, 70s down towards the south, 70 in Orlando, 76 at South Beach tomorrow as well. Fantastic conditions through the next couple of days. Looking at the next 7 days, we're going to be looking at warmer conditions as we head into the early parts of next week. But I really want to talk about one monumental change that has happened kind of behind the scenes over the last couple of days. On Wednesday morning, they upgraded one of our computer models here in America, and it's American produced, and it's one of the better models we have to forecast one of our better allies in the weather factory.
Yes, it's called the GFS. That stands for Global Forecast System. And it's basically a computer model that spits out lots of numbers and figures at us. And from that, meteorologists interpret what the forecast is going to be.
Yeah, just like TVs have gotten better with the resolution, the size, we're doing the same thing with the models here in the weather world. The resolution has gotten twice as good, so we're able to see around the mountains a little bit better, and also be able to see soil moisture and near ground temperatures a little bit better as well.
Yeah. Yes, it's all very exciting because the bottom line of this is that it will really be able to improve meteorological forecasting hopefully at greater distances from the time the forecast was issued. So that 7-day, we'll be more confident in it.
Yep. And we're going to take a look at a better forecast now with Casey as well.
Thanks, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look across our nation. We do see temperatures in the southern part of the country pretty warm for this time of year. We're sitting at 60 right now in Dallas. Very warm in Phoenix, 73 degrees. Just nice weather, what you would expect maybe in the springtime. But here in our only 56 degrees in the northeast, our coldest part of the nation. 24 in Detroit and 26 in Boston at this hour. Those temperatures have been increasing. A little bit warmer weather than we've been seeing. Nicer conditions here across the south central, southeast as well. We see in Memphis 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, 11 degrees warmer than yesterday this time in Atlanta. So we're seeing these temperatures warming up a bit as warmer air is moving across our nation. We do see water vapor imagery showing there's also some dry air. Yesterday, we had that rain around our viewing circle. Luckily today, the weather has cleared out and brought in really nice conditions across our nation that we do see up toward Tulsa, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City. They're also seeing dry conditions extending out toward those warm conditions in Phoenix as well. Dry conditions in toward those communities, making for a nice weekend ahead. Nice holiday weekend. You see, now you're going to look here further. We see northwestern part of the country around Idaho. We're seeing some snow activity. We'll delve into that here in just a moment. Also in the northeast as well, some snowy conditions as we're talking about up toward Detroit and Boston. Taking a closer look at this, we see some of the snowy weather situation around Boston. Earlier, we've seen quite a bit of snow, but as the sun has gone down, we see some of these snow showers kind of starting to fall apart a bit, which extending from just north of New York City up toward around Binghamton, New York, also Harrisburg, Pennsylvania as well. But some of these snow showers starting to weaken a bit, making for a little bit nicer in the way of snow, not quite as much accumulation going on. We do have some weather advisories in this area, wind chill advisories in effect for parts of these communities here in this light blue color. Northwest, we see very heavy snow occurring. We're talking about around Pocatello, Idaho. Starting the weekend, though, as well, moving down toward the southeast, moving down toward the southeastern areas now. Going ahead and taking a look at these watches and warnings. We're looking at some winter weather advisories in the purple. Also a high wind warning in the yellow colors, so some potentially windy and snowy conditions in towards some of these communities. Airport delays, we see 71 minutes in New York, but otherwise nice here across our nation on this Friday evening. Not too much in the way of delays. Some of those snow showers affecting New York, though. Tonight, 34 degrees in Tallahassee, 41 in toward Dallas. We see areas tomorrow, though, getting a little bit warmer. 65 here in the metro, 67 in Dallas. Really nice conditions. Right now, let's go ahead and take it over to Shane with a look at your local forecast.
Thanks, Casey. Awesome look around the whole country right now, and now we're going to bring it back home to Florida. Here's what we saw today in the capital. We had a high of 61 degrees and a low of 41. How do you like that? Exactly 20 degrees apart there, and nowhere near our records, which are 82 degrees for the high and 15 degrees for the cold. Personally, I can say I'm glad that I wasn't waking up to that this morning. And as we reach this fine Friday evening, it's currently 56 here in the capital under partly cloudy skies as the sun is now dipping below the horizon, which will be giving us a very clear night without very many clouds around at all, and very comfortable, not too humid. Here on this satellite and radar loop, well, we don't see any bright colors for rain because there wasn't any, and we can see those dark shades that slide out in the early frames of the loop. Those were the clouds that some of us woke up to really early this morning, and then all that nothing there, those beautiful clear skies with a bit of a nip in the air as well. That's the result of these northerly winds that were pushing a lot of cooler air than we're used to experiencing down into the panhandle of Florida, but the winds are going to be shifting out of the south. That'll be moving up some moisture and some warmer air as well. Let's take a look at the exact progression of this. We've got those northerly winds and that colder air, these shades of blue to follow, and then that's going to make a big turnaround. They're going to shift out of the south and eventually out of the east, pushing up warmer and moister air that will be a little bit more humid, yes, but overall warmer and a lot more pleasant to sit out in. And then they're going to switch back out of the north again as another pressure system begins to make its way from the Midwest towards the southeast, which will give us another fairly cool evening on Sunday evening leading into Monday morning for MLK Day. So how's the water going to be this weekend? Well, if you like sun, then get out and sail in it. It's going to be a little choppy offshore with winds maybe 5 to 15 knots the further you get away from land, and waves of 1 to 2 feet. Really not that choppy at all, actually pretty calm for those who've gone through some more dangerous gales. So again, tonight in Tallahassee, 34 degrees, likewise in our neighboring cities, and a little warmer there. Apalachicola is bounded by water. That helps insulate the city, keep it a little bit warmer, but clear skies all around. Now for tomorrow's forecast, we're going to get up to 65 degrees, a good 7 degrees warmer than we saw today. Just warmer conditions all around, gorgeous light winds. And as for the 7 days that will follow this, I'm glad to show you these 5 sunshines on the map right now. We've got upper 60s throughout, with lows not even nearly dipping down into the 30s for several nights. And then late next week, we're expecting another rainmaker to come in that will drop the temperatures again and increase the chance of precipitation here in Florida. Now let's hand it off to Tom and Casey at the desk.
Thank you, Shane. Now we have to look at this week. Let's take a look back in 1964 in Fort Worth, Texas. Casey, tell us what happened.
Well, then, on this day, 12.1 inches of snow fell in a event. This was the most for one single snowfall event ever in that area. Very serious situation. They're very unusual to see that much snow in a season, much less in a short time period, such as a day or two. Now, there was also the Great Snowstorm in 1831 in New England.
Yeah, 1831, the Great Snowstorm. We had over 30 inches of snow fall during that storm, and it was just crazy how much snow there was that week.
Right, 30 inches of snow in some areas, just very, very unusual for that area. That does sometimes occur with very high precipitation winter storms, but not too big of a factor. But right now, Tom, you're going to take a look around the state of Florida.
Yes, we will. We'll bring it a little closer to home. So we're taking a look at 8 degrees difference from yesterday this time to today. 8 degrees increase, and in South Florida by Miami only 6 degrees of a decrease. So we're seeing a little bit of increased temperatures in the north and decrease in temperatures in the south. Now let's take a look at the current conditions. 56 in Tallahassee and 69 in Miami. Pretty considerable difference. Normal, would usually expect Miami to be a lot warmer than Tallahassee. Sometimes we see not so much so. But we're taking the usual route right now. Again, those winds coming from the north, that's consistent throughout the entire state, from the high pressure moving across the Mississippi Valley region right now, moving further east, and those are going to shift for us. Maybe you see a little bit of this moisture keep pushing out there as the day went on today, and we're going to see behind these browns here, that's their dry air. We're going to see a little bit of moist air come from the west and treat us to a little bit of more moisture. Still relatively dry. We have the remnants of the rain showers that passed us yesterday, leaving South Florida right now, clearing the skies out. For them, a beautiful afternoon. Gave us an entire beautiful day because those storms left us early last night. Let's take a radar tour around the state of Florida. We have just a little bit of noise here. Maybe that's some fog and some birds flying around there. Just some noise from this radar there. Not too anything to be concerned. A little bit more noise around Cocoa County and Hillsborough County there. Same issues. Unfortunately, our equipment isn't perfect all the time, and we're seeing that radar showing those little bit of rain showers just sprinkling right off there just south of Grand Bahama. We don't see any showers, just some more noise in Miami as well. And we're going to continue on here. Looking at the entire state of Florida, clear, sunny skies for now. Beautiful temperatures, mid-60s for us here in Tallahassee daytime, and maybe closer to 70 down in Miami for us the next few days here. It's going to be beautiful, and I don't know why this came up, but again, Miami is clear, and the rest of the state is clear as well. For the rest of the tonight, we're going to see 34 degrees in Tallahassee. It's going to get pretty cool. That's close to freezing, so we might want to bundle up if you're leaving early in the morning, taking a trip for this beautiful holiday weekend here. Go see some family. It'd be a nice thing. And in the 60s for Miami. Interesting, the temperature's only going to drop maybe a few degrees there overnight because of maybe a little bit more moisture down there right now. For tomorrow, 65 degrees in Tallahassee. Another beautiful day just like today. And 76 in Miami, pushing close to 80 there. That's more like temperatures we see late springtime in Tallahassee for us. and we're going to keep looking on for a winter weather update from John.
All right, we're going to talk about the northern part of the country here. We talked about those 80s down south. Well, it's actually going to feel almost 100 degrees cooler this weekend in parts of northern Maine. We'll get to that in just a second, but I want to talk about this cloud cover, cloud cover too, but snow cover across the ground. Most of this snow cover across Iowa, from Illinois, from into Nebraska, down into the Rockies, in the central Rockies there. That's going to be melting over the next couple of days because of plentiful warm air rising from the Gulf of Mexico up into the northern plains. Lots of warm air, 56 degrees today in Kansas City. You saw that snow cover just north of Kansas City across Des Moines over towards Lincoln, Nebraska as well. That is going to melt all that snow cover across the northern tier of the country. 60 degrees in Dallas and San Antonio sitting in at 62 degrees. Plentiful sunshine across most of the country as well. The next storm system is coming in across the Pacific Northwest, bringing 3 to 6 inches of snowfall from Idaho Falls up into the Canadian Maritimes of the west coast of the United States and Canada there. The next storm system bringing in some rainfall in northern California as well. Really, the wind is going to be the main story across the north and east, blowing some snow from the Great Lakes down into northern Pennsylvania as well as the northern tier of New England. This is an advisory that we don't see a whole lot. That's a wind chill warning. That means that wind chills or feels like temperatures are actually going to feel like temperatures well below freezing, actually closer to negative 40 degrees in some spots in northern Maine and northern New Hampshire as well. Snow falling across eastern parts of Massachusetts, that's starting to taper off as well. Really the main story this weekend is going to be the wind across New England and most of the north and east, with wind becoming a nuisance really by Saturday evening into Sunday. The wind being a nuisance as well across the northern parts of the Rockies. This is a high wind warning here across central Montana for winds upwards, possibly gusting to 70 miles an hour. Wind blowing that snow around as well, 3 to 6 inches falling on the ground from the sky, but there's a lot of snow blowing around the rest of the region as well. Wind coming in from the Rockies, a little bit of snow across the mountains of western Washington state there. Wind blowing a lot of snow across southeastern Idaho as well. Looking across the northern parts of the country, there are 2 storm systems moving across the northern Rockies here, and really that's going to be the main story across the borderlands, getting into Minnesota by Saturday afternoon. If you're heading to church on Sunday morning, watch out in parts of upper New England. That low pressure system that's now on the west coast will be on the east coast. It'll be replaced by a slightly warmer low pressure system across the northern parts of the country. Seattle seeing more rain as we head into Sunday morning. And then that low pressure system really bangs up New England by Sunday evening, with snow showers falling across the mountains and rainfall falling across the coastal areas now. Looking at tonight's forecast, we're at 10 degrees in Boston, 25 degrees in Washington, D.C. Warmer air across most of the country, and that's going to be the main story across most of the country, I think, for the next 5 days or so. But we've got some sports here in Tallahassee, and it's looking like 65 degrees here in Tallahassee tomorrow.
Yes, it does, but let's think about more on Sunday here. We're pushing some football games coming up big on Sunday. That winter weather is going to have an effect, right, Casey?
Yeah, first off, we're talking about Seattle. They're playing Green Bay at home in the northwestern part of the country. There's a 70% chance of rain there. Temperature will be in the upper 40s for that.
Yeah, and in Massachusetts, we also have the Patriots versus the Colts, and there's going to be a 90% chance of rain there. Temperatures in the upper 30s. We're going to see some effect on the gameplay.
Yeah, very cool conditions. Even can't run some isolated wintry precipitation in that area because the temperature will be so cool, not very far from the threshold where you could have some of that occurring in that area. But right now I'm going to take a closer look toward our neck of the woods. We see across the region some cloud cover that was here this morning. It's been clearing out though. We're talking about areas of our viewing circle. We're talking about Tallahassee. We're talking about areas around Bainbridge. They were getting some of that cloud cover earlier, but that since has gone away. Currently, though, right now we see on campus 56 degrees here In Tallahassee, partly cloudy skies, your humidity 45%. Not too much of a factor, pretty low, not. It actually makes it a little bit nicer feeling in some ways with that humidity being a little bit higher when the conditions are a little bit cooler anyway. 56 degrees Tallahassee, temperature toward the north and west to a little cooler, 50 in Quincy. Nice conditions compared to what we were seeing not too long ago. Last week we were seeing temperatures in the lower 20s, upper teens across the area. A much warmer departure from that, though we do see 49 right now in Valdosta, the cool spot. Now, our futurecast does tell the story very nicely. We see high pressure is in control, meaning nice weather conditions here for the most part. As we get into Saturday, we'll be keeping an eye on some cool conditions, but again, it will be sunny here across the viewing circle as you're going out maybe to the FSU men's basketball game, which we'll talk about here in a moment. And then on Saturday night, though, we'll be watching a cool front off to our north and west. But it is a very dry, cool front. We're talking about maybe areas just to the northwest of Huntsville, Alabama, also down toward Jackson and Baton Rouge. That front will be at those locations at 8 a.m. on your Sunday, as it does try to make its way a little bit closer. Tonight, though, 34 degrees. We'll be seeing mostly clear conditions. Some jacket weather will be around. Make sure you take that if you're going out around the community, maybe around campus, maybe just walking around, something to that effect. It will be pretty nice, but again, just make sure you're prepared with some warm weather clothing. On your Saturday to plan that day, it will be cool waking up, 36 degrees we see here in Tallahassee at 7 a.m. By noon, it'll be warming up to 57 degrees. And then we'll be up to 63 degrees by about 5 p.m. It'll be a nice day here, a nice day for many activities here on this holiday weekend. And speaking of that, we do see a forecast for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We see the forecast for that showing conditions early in that day, 35 degrees on your Monday, 61 at 2 p.m. and cooling down by 6 p.m. as the sun goes down, 58 degrees in. Sunny skies, light wind, a really nice day on your holiday. Now that 7-day forecast, though, tells the story very nicely. We see 65 degrees tomorrow. Those temperatures will be staying around the same temperature to upper 60s. Also lows, though, in the upper 30s tomorrow. Starting to warm up just a bit. Pretty seasonable conditions until we watch our next chance of rain into the middle part of next week here across the viewing circle, Tom.
All right, so tomorrow we got men's basketball, 1:30. Going to be another beautiful day for you. And for tonight, we have
the Black Film Festival at 7 p.m. at the SLC. That's being put on by students, and those are actually student productions there for Martin Luther King Jr.'s holiday.
And that should take a good look there. Some examples of how certain cultures have been stereotyped in negative ways, and they're looking to change that and how things have changed.
That's right. Let's go ahead and take a look, though. We'll see that 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, 65 degrees. Those temperatures, again, around average, and we see that into next week.
And our lows are going to be into the upper 30s as we finish out the weekend into the new week, with some storms possibly Thursday through Friday late next week, but that's up to some predictions there.
Yeah, we'll watch that. The chance of rain for next week. You might need to carry an umbrella around as we get into Thursday and Friday, going around campus. We'll watch that closely for you on the FSU Weather Show next week, but make sure you like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, and we'll also keep an eye on, right now live stream isn't working, but we're working feverishly to try to correct that, and we'll try to give you more updated information on that next week.
All right, we're going to be enjoying this weather, Casey. I'm certainly going to be enjoying it, and how about you?
Yeah, I sure will. Walking around campus, nice conditions. But for now, I'm Casey Cloud.
And Tom Mazzetti.
Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.